Hello YouTube and welcome to a new toy review. This time let's check out Generation 1 Brainstorm. Generation 1 Brainstorm turns into this cool and futuristic looking spaceship thingy, a little bit reminding me of the X-Wing fighters from Star Wars. He's got a really nice color scheme going on. I like this light blue combined with the light gray, and the red stickers are a really nice touch to it. You can bend these fins a little bit more like this if you want. I think this sort of gives it a little bit more kind of an X-Wing look, or you can have them straight up if you like, however you prefer. He's got small wheels here and also here, and he doesn't really roll that well. He's more of a flying toy anyway. He's got his two guns here, and I like the fact that they are also forming little wings here at the nose. I think that looks pretty nice. Also, unfortunately, without his guns attached, his alt mode is not really complete. I think in this way it really misses that wing element that the guns give to the fighter, and yeah, I prefer it with the wings. So if you can't find this figure complete, you will have sort of an unfinished, incomplete feeling if you're missing the guns. So I think he's got a very nice retro G1 vibe going on. Of course, the cockpit can be opened, and you have some nice sticker detailing going on for the control panel of the jet. I really like that. And you can have your Headmaster figure sit inside, which is the best feature for me when it comes to Headmaster toys. I really like the fact that they can actually sit inside their vehicle and be the pilot, and that the vehicles actually have an opening cockpit that you can put your figures in. I think that adds a lot of play value for your figures. He was made by Hasbro, 1986. Of course, he comes with a Headmaster figure. His name is Arcana. He's your usual Headmaster. One thing I noticed is that he shares the same limbs with Chrome Dome. They have the same arms and also the same lower legs, only in different colors. But they have different torsos and different face sculpts. Articulation for this figure is you can move the arms, but I'm not going to, because I'm afraid I would break them. As you can see, this rectangular shoulder makes it very kind of hard to move, so I'm not going to force that. Legs move. He can sit down like this. That's about the amount of movement that you're having with him. To transform him is really simple. You just fold up the legs like that and fold up this faceplate thingy, and you have your head. Now, to transform him into robot mode is really not that difficult, and it reminds me a lot of the cheap transformations that the Pretender inner robots have. Like for example this one, his Cloudburst, where you can just fold out the legs and fold in the wings, and boom, you're there. So transformation is kind of the same with Brainstorm. You have to close down the nose of the plane, then you take the legs and just fold them out. For some reason this leg on my figure is really tight, and I don't know why, and I'm not even sure it should ratchet or make this kind of noise, but it's really tight, and I'm sort of afraid of breaking it every time I'm transforming him. You flip down the feet and just close the wings. You can leave the wings open like this, but I sort of like them to be closed down. I think it gives him a little bit more of a robotic look. Then you flip out the fists, and all you have to do now is take the head and put it in place. As you can see, he has the same speed, strength and intelligence meters as every other Headmaster figure has, and he's very quick and very intelligent. Of course, his Brainstorm. He can hold his guns both ways, but I prefer to have him like this, like an actual gun, and not like this. I think that sort of looks weird, so I'm just going to put it in his hands, and there you have Brainstorm. Now, I think he has a decent sculpt and decent posability for a Generation 1 figure. You may have noticed that he has this sort of weird hip thing going on. He kind of reminds me of the Quick Switch figure, and I have to admit I don't really like figures with this kind of hip where the legs start like at the side of the body and not where they are supposed to be. I think that looks a little bit strange, but then again, it's not that big of a problem with this figure. I think the sculpt is just clever enough to sort of hide it, especially if you have the arms down or if you have the guns in the hands, and so suddenly this isn't such a big issue anymore. Articulation is, as I mentioned, decent. You have a full 360 rotation for the arms, and you even have elbow articulation, sort of, but if you count this as an elbow, then the lower arm is basically non-existent and it's just a hand after the elbow, so that's also a little bit strange on this figure. Legs can move, but as I mentioned, they are very, very stiff, and I'm just afraid to move them. Also, if this is the knee articulation, it's very high. It's like a really, really long lower leg for a really short thigh. I personally believe that this articulation is basically for transformation, and I think even these stickers were included to symbolize the knees here. So yeah, I would rather count this as a no knee articulation, and this one is just for transformation. The figure has this sort of weird tail thing going on in the back, but I think maybe because of the color, I don't think this is such a big issue. I think it sort of blends in with the other part of the back kind of nicely, and this is how he looks like with the wings open, but I don't really like this look, and I prefer it to be closed like this. I think this is a very nice Generation 1 figure. I think it has a really cool sort of retro vibe going on that I really like about it. Sure, it has its problems with the posability and with the articulation, but frankly most all of the G1's figure do, so I don't think that is such a big issue. Interestingly enough, his face sculpt differs from the one that you see on the show if you watch the Japanese exclusive Headmasters Transformers series. In that show he doesn't have a faceplate going on. This sort of Optimus Prime-ish looking faceplate is not there, and he has like a humanoid face basically. So that's also interesting how they went to a different direction with the actual toy. But I kind of like the choice for the face. I think it makes his face look a little bit more alien and not as human-like, and I think that fits with the whole robotic theme quite well. Here you have him next to some other Headmasters from this same toy line. As you can see, he's sort of short. I think that's because if you think back of his tech specs, his strength is sort of low, so he is really supposed to be a quick fighter who's using his brains more than his brawn, I think. I would really recommend you to pick him up if you like him. I think the character is quite popular in the new Mordor Meets the Ice comic books. I haven't read them, but I think I really should. So thank you for watching my review. Stay tuned for more, and goodbye.